Typically, we don't get to hear the personal thoughts of our Navy leaders. They are professionals in demanding leadership positions. But today, on A History of the Navy in 100 Objects, we get to hear the thoughts of a prior Naval Academy commandant who really didn't want to come back to Annapolis. We turn it over to Claude Barabee, the director of the museum, for more.
Rear Admiral Norman Farquhar was a graduate of the United States Naval Academy, class of 1859. He had a distinguished service, would serve as the commander of 6 U.S. Navy ships, and would command a ship during the noted hurricane in Samoa in 1889. Farquhar had served twice at the United States Naval Academy, in addition to being a student here. He had served from 1872 to 1877, teaching, and later served as commandant of the midshipmen. Back then they were known as cadets, not midshipmen. What we have here is Norman Farquhar's letterbook. A letterbook, as its name implies, officers would have these as a record of the letters they received and the letters they sent. And in here we really get a sense of the life of Norman Farquhar from very personal and moving stories. For example, when David Dixon Porter is superintendent of the Naval Academy, he writes a note to one of his instructors, Norman Farquhar, on the death of Farquhar's son, who is then offered a burial space here at Hospital Point at the Naval Academy. After command of 6 ships, he did not want to return to the Naval Academy, and in this letterbook we see 5 times where the Navy is saying, we're going to send you to the Naval Academy. And finally he acquiesces, says he will become Commandant of the Naval Academy. Why is this important in terms of an object of naval history? Number one, to really demonstrate the letter writing prowess of especially the 19th century. But in his case, Farquhar comes back to the Naval Academy and ends up writing an article for Naval Institute Proceedings, then a still very new organization and publication. Naval Institute is here at the Naval Academy at Hospital Point at Beach Hall. It was founded in 1873 when Farquhar was here teaching. He ends up writing for Proceedings about how midshipmen or cadets should be instructed. So he's taking his life experiences and adding to that. In a broader scheme, this piece is not on exhibit at the museum. We have 60,000 artifacts here. We're only able to display about 1,400 at any point. This one was on display for a special exhibit 2 years ago for Warrior Writers, A History of the U.S. Naval Institute. The purpose of that particular exhibit was to inspire midshipmen to write as their naval heritage really demands. A number of junior officers for the past 150 years have written about their naval profession on strategy, on operations, tactics, personnel issues, etc. So it was appropriate that Norman Farquhar's letterbook should be included in that exhibit. And we have it here, and we are going to be conserving it in the very near future.
Thanks for joining us for today's podcast. We hope to see you soon at the Naval Academy Museum here in Annapolis, Maryland.